lovely people. Welcome to this week's tarot reading, and this is the week of the 26th of December. It's the day after Christmas Day, so I hope you have all had a lovely Christmas holiday season, and I'm very excited to see what the cards have to tell us on this day, Boxing Day. Let's have a look. Right, okay, let's see. We have the Eight of Swords. Okay, that's quite interesting. And then we have another Swords. We have the King of Swords. And we have Judgment. Interesting. Okay, let's see where this brings us today. Okay. So if we've got two swords, we've got one court card, and we've got one major arcana card. And if we remember, the court cards are about either people close to us, or it may be ourselves, aspects of ourselves. And then we have Judgment, which is the major arcana card, which is really on the very deep psychic level. We're kind of looking at the motivation behind our behaviors, and the minor cards tend to be about our behaviors, our day-to-day, the way we are. Okay, so if we look at the Eight of Swords, it's an interesting picture here. We've got this lady. She is bound, and she's got all these swords around her. Now, the suit of swords tends to be, or is, about mental activity. It's our intellect, and it's what's going on inside our head. So this card evokes an impression of being trapped, of being powerless, and blinded, and of being being blind, of being victimized. So with this card here, we're really looking at mental bondage. And it could be, it's very much, when this card comes up, it's telling us that there's more to a given situation than what we can see and what we think about. So it's very often we're looking at self-imposed limitations here. It's our own thoughts and beliefs that are binding and blinding us. So this card is a reminder for you. It's a reminder to you that you are not a victim, that you do have the power to understand your situation and find solutions to your situation. You see, this card is implying that there are no options, and or that maybe the options are too frightening to consider. So feeling very bound by circumstances here. But, this person you're not really that confined. You only think that you are, and your thinking makes it so. We're very much bound by our beliefs, and we often take the limits of our own vision of the world. We often take the limits of our own vision to be the limits of the world, which is really not the case. People have very different views of the world, very different limitations. So it's the other thing that kind of comes up for this card would be that there's a bit of a paralysis of analysis associated with this card, and that means sort of maybe not doing something because of a compulsive need to analyze before taking action. Does that sound familiar to you at all? The other question I would ask you is, are you being disempowered by another person? Are you feeling disempowered by another person? And so when this card appears, it's telling you that you must listen to your own feelings, those feelings within yourself, no matter what you're being told. The strength in this card is found in your intuition, because your instincts are what are really important, and it's important not to confuse instincts with fear. So your your instincts is where this is where your inner strength and your personal power to free yourself are. And you are able to reclaim this power. Now, instinct, if you have an instinct, this is where you'll feel really excited about doing something. And whereas if you have fear, you'll be scared to do something. So it's your beliefs are your greatest restrictions. So it's really important to look and examine, within what your beliefs are, what your belief system is. Now this brings us to the King of Swords. So this king is a wise, but he's a tough-minded thinker. Again, we're looking at mental stuff, we're looking at intellect. This king plans carefully and acts with deliberation. So there's a lot of wisdom and expertise associated with this king. But this king can often believe that he's not wrong, that he's never wrong, because he is so clever and so smart. And so he might risk being cold or harsh or overly critical, while he's also being cool and logical. So he's an interesting character, this king. And like I said before, this could be yourself, this could be an aspect of yourself, or it could be somebody that's very close to you. And now, because this guy is such an expert and has the mind of an expert, he may be closed. He may be closed to new possibilities and ideas. So we're looking at somebody who's very purposeful of thought, and unlike, say, the dreamer, the Page of Swords, who is the dreamer. So his advice, this character's advice, is worth seeking. And you'll find that he's attracted to law as a career, or to business, politics, some kind of bureaucracy, or engineering, medicine, teaching. Whatever it is, he represents a commitment to clarity of thought and honesty, and a need to put his knowledge into practice. So when this card comes up in a reading, someone is giving you a clear sound advice. And this king is asking you to examine how you might be limiting yourself based on your own assumptions. Now, isn't that really interesting that this card has come after this one? So are you unconsciously allowing old fixed views to colour your perception of yourself, or to colour your perception of others? Do you feel like you're limited and can't get ahead? Maybe because you're a woman, or you're a minority, or maybe gay, or poor, or disabled. I mean, are these, do you feel that the deck is stacked against you because of how you are, or because of who you are? And if so, this is where you're making assumptions. And you're making assumptions about others before you maybe even get to know them. So do you do that? Do you make those assumptions? When this card appears, it places you in contact with your own assumptions. And there is a need to challenge in order to grow. So this king can symbolize a difficulty with changing your mind about settled matters. So the King of Swords can change his mind, and that is why he's in this reading at this time. So what part of you is feeling rigid? And this king can even appear as a loved one who's challenging your viewpoint and assumptions. A fixed personality that needs to be won over with clarity, evidence, and reason. So I think it's really interesting that this card has come in straight after this one here. And then this leads us to judgment. So we're looking at now the sort of motivation, what motivates our behavior and the way that we live. And what this card does, it symbolizes crossing a threshold. So it's about rebirth, it's about awakening. It's about awakening to your purpose and experiencing a breakthrough. So it's a bit like getting a second lease of life, leaving the past behind. It's about thinking outside of the box and being deeply inspired and uplifted. So kind of, like reborn, if you like, summoned to a higher awareness. So this card is very much about stepping out and away from fear. It's about stepping out and away from avoidance and procrastination and self-limiting behaviours. And look, we go straight back to this card here. Isn't that this is what I find so fascinating about these tarot readings, is how the cards all link to each other and how they all point to each other. So this card is a wake-up call. It's saying start living the life you want and start now. So summon up the courage to live consciously. Be that fiery phoenix that rises out of the ashes. And if there's forgiveness to be done, then, really work on that, because forgiveness does reopen the heart and it can signal the final cutting of emotional attachments. So this card is about needing to listen to your inner voice and to consider the repercussions of your personal actions. Suitable choices, they stem from self-awareness. And if you make suitable choices from being self-aware, then, this means that the chances are that there will be a lasting success for whatever it is you're wanting to move forward to. It's also saying that, short-term sacrifices can be necessary for long-time fulfillment. So success has to be earned with this Judgment card. And this card is telling you that your success has been earned. So the lesson of this card is understanding what is right for long-time spiritual growth and development. It's telling you that there's no point in making comparisons with other people, because we all have different starting and finishing points in life. So it's really easy to look at somebody else, maybe in your peer group, or, and say, oh, look what they have and I'm not there yet. And, I'm going to do what they do. It's we're all so individual, and we really need to have the courage to follow our own path. And so you might find when this card comes up that maybe you have a question about whether to change jobs in the coming year. And if this is the case, then this card confirms that that would be a prudent thing to do. It is describing a call from within to find profound meaning in your life. And it also can be about selfless sacrifice, or, selfless sacrifice, and being aware of meeting your needs on all the levels, which would be physical, emotional, intellectual and spiritual, in the long term. So it's a very interesting 3-card reading here. And I hope that it resonates with you. I hope that you're getting something out of this. So, lovely people, this is our reading for this week. And if it does resonate with you, do leave me a comment below. You can also subscribe to this channel to be notified for the next reading. And if you would like to know more, you can book a private reading with me. I would love to hear from you. You can find my email address in the description of the video. So on that note, I'm going to say have a fabulous week and lots of love.